I would like you guys to talk about A Fall from Grace. Want to know, what do you guys think about that movie? Just the storyline alone.
What is going on, listeners?
How's everybody doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I would do even more better if you would tell me about this wonderful app we're using.
I think you might be to put a little much on it, but okay. Let me tell you about this wonderful app we're using. We're using Anchor.
Anchor.
And if you don't know what Anchor is, if you've ever wanted to do a podcast, listen to podcasts, want to start a podcast, want to do a podcast with your friends, Anchor is the best place to get started. Point blank, period. Because number one,
it is free, guys.
free 99er.
Absolutely free.
Can't beat free.
No, can't beat it
And
all.
I mean, there's a creation tool, helps you record and edit right from your phone or computer, however you feel like it, so you can get it just the way you like it. If you don't have, all the equipment, it's not going to stop you from recording or creating a podcast. That's all yours. Right?
Right.
Yeah, I love the input. Anchor will also help distribute your podcast so it can be heard just about anywhere, such as
Spotify,
And-
Google Podcasts,
Ooh.
Apple Podcasts,
Ooh.
Podbean,
Yeah, that's a good one that you just learned today.
or wherever you listen to your podcast at.
Wherever.
You can find Date Night on there.
Ooh, nice plug. And you can monetize your podcast, no minimum listenership. Start making that good old money just for having people, listen to your podcast, your thoughts that probably no one else should ever hear. But, hey, that's what podcasts are for, right?
Right.
It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So if I were you, I would go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm. Where's it at, babe?
Anchor.fm.
Start your podcast today.
Hey.
If I had you all I If I had you all If I had you
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is me, Kieawnna.
And I guess I'm Tracy. I don't know.
Yes, we're trying a little something different because Mr. Bush is not going to be here for a whole month.
Oh, no.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's like no one comes to listen for me. They all come for you,
For
baby.
us.
No, they come for
us.
you. For you.
But yes, so we are starting our fan request month.
Yes, we are taking literally only requests from fans, which is exactly what that means in every sense of the word. So yeah, fan request month. That's what we are doing.
Yes. So my mom requested us to do a Fall from Grace directed
yes.
by Tyler Perry.
Yeah, I guess. As you heard at the top of this episode, don't worry, it's gonna be there in editing. You looked at me like I heard nothing. It'll be there in editing. I will play the message that she sent us, so you guys can hear.
Yeah. I was gonna say that too. Like, and she sent us to my mom. I said my mom already.
You did,
Oh
but
my
it's cool.
gosh.
It's cool.
But yes, so I was gonna say that we should play like the recording. But yes, you're already on top of it. You got
course,
this, babe.
of course.
So yes. So what did you think about this movie before we hop into it?
Uh,
I know at first you did not want to do it. He was like, a
No,
Tyler
man,
Perry
'cause I don't
movie.
like- it just-
It's gonna be full of bad wigs.
and was I wrong? Asking me if I was wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead. I'll wait.
You were not wrong.
Exactly. I've never been a fan of Tyler Perry's work. Like, it's just not very good to me. I don't really care for the pushy messaging. I don't care for his overuse of light-skinned dudes. I don't care for a lot of it. The writing is bad. The jokes usually suck. Like, it's not for me.
Okay. With all that being said, what did you think about this movie?
This movie, I thought it started off really slow, but I will say 9 times out of 10, anything with a trial involved is going to get me interested because I want to know how it turns out.
Okay.
So I won't say I thought it was good. I will say that I thought it was interesting.
Okay. Fair.
And
All
what
right.
did you think?
Like you, I thought at the beginning, I thought it was a little bit slow because of course, you were there. I was getting mad at one of the characters a lot, Jasmine. Because it did start off slow and irritating, but then as the story finally like picks up, like everybody's actually saying what the hell is going on, it's just like, oh, okay.
You're like, right, finally,
Yeah.
now we're getting to it. God damn it.
And this movie is 2 hours long.
It is 2 hours too long. Like, you got to cut 30 minutes of this movie out.
They could have like left kind of the first part out.
There's a lot of this movie they could have left out. Because it's just a lot of it just seems unnecessary. Like I said, it drags.
I will say at the beginning, well, shoot, let's dive right in.
Do that.
So at the beginning, it starts off with an old lady on the top of a house, and she's pretty much telling the officers that she can't do it anymore. She took everything. Or she didn't even say she.
She said, I don't have anything
yeah, I don't
left.
have
I have
anything
nothing.
left. Yeah, I have nothing. So automatically, when you when you see the trailers,
You try to figure out what happened.
you're like, oh, well, she must be talking about old dude, but it's, no. So, but yeah, so she pretty much jumps off the roof because.
okay, because this is dumb, all right? So she's on this roof threatening to jump. The cop is there like, hey, don't. You got your hell left ahead of you, old lady. But the stupidest thing that happens here is he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He's calling for backup. He's trying to talk her down. He's not going after her in any way because you don't want her the sudden movements to just make her jump.
Mm-hmm.
And this fucking helicopter just shines its light.
Right out of nowhere. Yeah, right in the lady's face.
It's so dumb.
And the cop's like, get that light out of here.
It's too late. She was
She's
like,
yeah.
fuck it.
She just jumped.
The
while he
spotlight was all
talking.
she needed.
Yeah, and so.
She should have done a flip. Also, I don't believe that the height she jumped from was enough to kill her. Maybe it was her age, and I'll give you that if that's the case. But she would just be hurt, like really badly injured.
You know what? Did they ever say what happened to her? Because he
does.
He just says, well, when they talk about it, he just says a lady jumped off the roof.
No, he says, I saw a woman jump to her death today.
Oh.
So he does. So
yeah, he clarifies
we
that.
we confirm that she does die, although I'm still not convinced.
Yes. So maybe it was the angle they were shooting it from.
I don't know. All I'm saying is you could survive that jump pretty easy.
Yeah. So then we get to the lawyer, Jasmine. We have her husband wakes her up and was all like, she could obviously tell something was wrong with him, and he doesn't want to talk about it right now. He just got back from work, and she was just like, okay, well, you're going to eventually tell me about it later, so I'll wait. So he tells her, like, well, take the car, go do what you got to do. And she does. And the whole time while she's driving, she's hearing about this case.
Grace Waters case.
Grace Waters case. And supposedly they have the people thinking that she just killed her husband out of cold blood.
That's really, as far as all we know for sure is that she killed somebody. It's definitely her husband because that's how they're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's on her way to her job, hearing about this Grace Waters case. So immediately, this is supposed to be important to us. because we keep hearing about it. It's on the news. She
Yeah,
literally
it's
walks by a little press
everywhere.
conference, which was dumb because she walks behind the reporter instead of going behind the cameraman. Like, were you trying to be seen,
Yeah.
Jasmine?
She
Huh?
was.
You didn't wear those heels for nothing, did you, Jasmine?
Oh man. So she gets into her job and her boss immediately just like screaming her name, telling her to come here, and she got assigned to Grace Waters' case and she's disappointed by it. Like she had no intention. She didn't want to do it at all. But then when she passed by her friends, they're all like, "You're," and I thought they were being sarcastic at first because it's like, "Lucky, like you got the case," and they're excited for her and she's not.
Well, I think what happened was initially she didn't want the case because she thought she was going to have to go to court. But then he was like, "Nope, we just need you to go down there, sign the deal," and then that's when she was kind of like, "Okay, I guess that's what I'll do."
Yeah.
Like, and that's why, because they wanted the case because they wanted to actually go to court.
Yeah.
She was picked, as we find out later, that
Because
because
they
she
knew
doesn't, she's not going to do
They
it.
knew she wouldn't go to court.
Yeah,
She was
it's
just
not
gonna
her
sign
thing.
it.
She was just gonna sit there and be like, "All right, plea deal, let's get out of here."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so she goes to the jail. She's supposed to get everything signed. You were saying this too. She walks through the jail through like all the prisoners. I don't know if that's like, look, I've never been to prison, but I don't know how they do it. Like, is that how it works? Like, do you have to go through Gen Pop like that just to get to
And then
the
I was
meeting
thinking,
room?
like, okay, well, maybe it was like holding, but I was like, no, because
Those
they
are
were
weird
like
holding cells.
but they were in full clothing too.
Well,
like
they got
are
that in
you
holding too.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
I don't know either.
Well, because there's like different kinds of holding. There's like police station holding where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you're there waiting for someone to either pick you up or waiting for them to like press charges. Normally, you're probably just going to be picked up by somebody or let go after they decide whatever. Then you go to jail, which is where it's also holding for court dates, but you will be in your jumpsuits, all that other stuff. Then there's prison, obviously.
Okay.
So,
got
it's different, but but if it is jail, then yeah, they would be, dressed up. And it makes sense that she would still be in her oranges because she's, or whatever, beige?
Grayish beige.
Yeah, because she's awaiting trial. So it makes
Yeah.
sense still.
But yeah, so she gets in, they walk her into the room.
She drops everything.
Yeah, like she's going through, and I feel like, okay, this is something you should have done before you got to the prison, because she does. She's looking at the file, and then she just drops everything on the floor, and it's not like she's in a rush to pick it up.
Oh, she's
She's
taking
kinda,
her sweet ass time, yeah.
And then the Grace walks in, and so does the officer, and she just looks at her like she already judged her from the beginning. Sorry.
You're excused.
But yeah, so she already judged her from the beginning because you can tell she had like a look on her face like,
Yeah.
this is who they sent me.
She was like, "Look at you, fresh young thing, right out of school," or some dumb shit like
she
that.
was like all in her personal life. Like, where'd you go to school at? Oh, and just questioning her. Oh, you married? Oh, you're Catholic? And I just
Okay.
felt like,
You
why?
do the prayers because it never amounts to
Yeah,
anything.
it
That's the
doesn't.
problem with that. Is like, if that was supposed to be part of her character in some sort of way or something, it would have been fine. But it doesn't amount to anything. Her grilling Jasmine is literally the dumbest part of
Yeah,
this movie
it
because
is,
she's
'cause
just
it
like,
doesn't- it doesn't
"Ugh,
have- Mm-hmm.
where did you go to school? Oh, are you married? Oh, all these other things that don't matter at all."
Nothing. Yeah, because they don't come back up in the
Nah.
movie or anything.
Like her being Catholic was something I thought was gonna come back,
Yeah.
and it just never did, and it's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah. So what happens next? Oh, she ends up leaving and telling her like, you know,
Okay, this is the deal.
Yeah, gave her a deal. Say she's gonna do like 15 years and try to get her closer to her son, and she'll talk to the DA. So then they end up leaving, and she's in the living room with her friends.
And her husband, who is inexplicably quiet throughout this entire movie.
Yeah,
it's
he
kind
really
of irritating.
is. But yeah, they're all talking and they're asking her like, "Well, are you gonna like try to take it to court?" Because the guy Donnie, he was looking through and he's like, "Have you read all this stuff? Like, this is very interesting. Like, this woman has done nothing. She doesn't have a traffic ticket. She bakes cookies
Yeah.
and she tutors kids on Sundays, stuff like that. Like, she couldn't possibly have done this." And she was just like, "Well, it's just a one and done pretty much. I just got to get her to sign the papers and that's it." And he got mad at her like, "So you're not even going to try?" And like you said, the whole time they're kind of arguing about it. The husband's just sitting there.
And yeah, but it's not even like it'd be different if you're just like, all right, I'm letting two colleagues go at it. But Donnie was kind of being an asshole. He was
Yeah, he
like
was
going
pressing
in
her.
on her,
But
calling her soft and all kinds
I
of.
can see why though. Throughout this whole movie, she kind of is.
And it doesn't really change towards the end of this movie.
like right, like you thought it was.
They try to make it seem like it does a little
she got-
bit, but it's like, yeah, no, get the fuck out of here. This is so dumb. But yeah, so Donnie's grilling her about the case. He's basically trying to get her to try it because he feels like there's more there than it seems. And she's like, no, it's open and shut case because that's what the boss told me. And then that was it. He was like, all right, cool, we out. Peace, you know. And the husband's just like, yeah, get out. But he doesn't say nothing.
Like he's just like Donnie, Jordan. So yeah, so they end up leaving, and she's obviously stressed out. And
This
this part is where like I didn't like this part because it was just weird to me because they're both sitting on the bed, and I guess they talk about their dates to each other, which that's cool. That's not the weird part. The weird part is they're sitting on the bed, and he was all like, I saw an old lady jump off the roof to her death.
No, I put it right here in my notes. I saw an old woman fall to her death. Your turn. What?
No, he said, but I'm okay. Your turn. Like,
Nigga,
wait.
You can't just drop a bombshell
Exactly.
like that.
Are you
What?
okay? You just see somebody die.
Yeah, because
like,
what it was he had come in from work earlier that morning and he was clearly distressed about something, and she was like, well, you know, tell me about it. He was like, nah, I'm cool. He was like, well, she was like, you'll tell me later when you're ready. I know you will.
I said that at the beginning.
Yeah, did you? Wait a minute. Okay, whatever. That's some strong stuff. Yeah. But yeah, so he tells her, but this just the way he dropped it. They're just sitting there and he's like, I saw an old woman fall to her death today. But I'm all right. You go.
Yeah, your turn.
I'm like, I'm
And
sorry.
then
Whatever my problems are don't even seem that big anymore. Like,
I feel like she's kind of selfish in a way too because she did not question it either
Kinda.
further or anything.
she's very selfish throughout this entire movie.
All she said was, okay, well, and, you know, she starts talking about the case and, like, you know, she's basically telling him that she doesn't want to be a lawyer anymore because it's too hard. That's kind of where I got it from. It's overwhelming. It's too hard. But I feel like, because she was like, everybody lies and all this other stuff like that.
Yeah, because she's a defense attorney, and usually the people, like you said, the people she defends are usually criminals and stuff like that, petty thieves or whatever the case may be, and she doesn't like defending them, and she wants to do something better or whatever the case may be. But I'm torn on this part because on one hand, I think the husband was right to be like, nah, fuck that. You know, you got to do what you got to do. You know, this is what you were born to do. Don't quit on it, blah, blah, blah. And on the other hand, I was like, he wasn't being very supportive of her. So I was like, damn, like he made some very valid points, but did he do it in a harsh way? Like, what do you think?
Not really, because sometimes, like, they don't got to be an ass about it, but sometimes you need that tough love to get that push. Like, everybody sees it. Like, this girl just lets people push her around
all the time, clearly.
Yeah, she just, I don't know what's going on with her, but
isn't that like a mark of main women in Tyler Perry films? They're all like timid and always getting pushed around and dealing with men who are all assholes. Like Diary of a Mad Black Woman. She was a piece. She was walked all over until she found somebody else.
But
and
then she
but she turned. That's what I'm saying. That's like all these movies.
Well, because it is a lot of that though. Like, you know, women just taking it just like, oh, okay, like, no problem, like, that's fine. But you, like, at the end of the day, like, you know it's not fine.
She took it because he was rich.
Or was it? She was there with him from the start. We're talking about a whole
I was talking about different movies. Let's
stay on topic. Okay, another movie for another day.
All right.
Okay. But, yeah, I think she needed to hear that because she is a good lawyer, but because she doubts herself so much, when she was really on her stuff, kind of.
I don't know, babe. I mean, you're saying that, and I'm hearing you say it.
Lawyer, like she
knows
what type of lawyer she wants to be.
She is a lawyer. She's a passionate lawyer. I will give you that. But good is a fucking stretch.
Well, it was her first. It was her first one. So she's
Look,
always taking plea deals.
I will say this: I'm not a lawyer. But I have seen enough lawyer shows and stuff to know how it's supposed to at least look aesthetically. And I will tell you this.
It looks like kids on trial.
Bruh. It looks like what happens when you get you go to high school and you have them do like a mock trial. Like that's what she felt like. The white dude at the other, he was prepared. He sounded like he knew what the fuck he was doing. And she was just like, we'll get there. We'll get there. Fuck. I'm moving ahead. But
but yeah, I don't know. She has the potential to be something really good, and he's trying to tell her stick to it. This is what you went to school for. You know, she's distressed right now.
I also
overwhelmed.
think that as a man in 2000, and I'm assuming this came out 2020, so it's not that far fetched. It is literally impossible to survive on a one household income like that. He's not making enough as a cop. And if she just decides to, because she even said it, she was like, "Oh, we'll just move to the countryside and have some babies and live off of you." And I know that in that nigga's head, he was like, "She must be."
That's why he started laughing.
Yeah,
he chuckled a bit,
"She is crazy. How are we going to do that? I am a cop. I'm not. What do you think I do? You are a lawyer. You are going to be the breadwinner of this family.
Pretty much.
Be real." And she don't want that because most women don't. And neither do I.
Sorry.
You okay there?
Yes.
Well, stop choking.
Okay, so where are we?
Okay. Does she go back to see Grace a second time for the plea deal? She does.
Kind of. Because didn't she talk to?
She talked to the DA about getting her closer to her son. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much it. Because he said something else, but it wasn't really.
He pretty much told her he wanted to give Grace life without parole, but they could work something out with her moving closer to her son.
Yeah.
And so she was just like, all right, pretty much. So then, yeah, she does. She goes.
Well,
back
yeah,
to
because
see Grace.
the first time she does see her, she says, "Well, looking at your file, you don't have any records. I can try and use that and get you maybe 15 years with parole or whatever the case may be." But obviously, the prosecutor didn't. That's not what they were going for. They were going for life without parole, but they were willing to get her closer to her son, and that was the deal. That was the plea deal. She was like, "Here you go, sign it." She takes the pen from her all mean and stuff. I don't even remember what was happening.
Oh, no, because she just gave her the paperwork and she told her what it was. And she was like, yeah, you are going to get life and everything. And then, Grace started crying, tears started coming out of her eyes. And then she was just like, okay. So then they're kind of just sitting there looking at each other. And then she's like, well, you got a pen? I don't got one. And she's like, oh, yeah, sorry. But the whole time that Jasmine is in that courtroom, not in the courtroom, that's in the interrogation room talking to her, I'm just all like, okay, so are you not going to question her, though, about what really happened that night?
No.
Are you just not going to bring it up, at all?
No, because she was only there for the plea.
You're not curious at all of, what's going on? You just looked at this woman's case, and you don't even care, what happened or anything.
She just wanted to get it done because that's what she does. That's why she was chosen.
Yeah, that's what was irritating me about her.
Because at the bare minimum, I would have been curious. So what happened? From your story, I want to hear it. I know you confessed, but let me know what the deal was.
Exactly. And this woman's sitting here in tears, are you sure you killed somebody?
Yeah, so because then she goes to see Sarah. I forgot. How does she find out about Sarah?
She found because she actually looked over. She started looking over her case.
Yeah, because she started crying, and that's what she was like. Sarah was like, "Oh, what led you to me?" She was like, "Oh, tears, Grace's tears,"
and
which is a dumbass line.
Yeah, pretty much. So then Jasmine is talking to Sarah about what happened. How did she meet this man? How did she meet her husband and everything? And Sarah starts telling her the story. She even gets her a photo that
the little gallery thing.
Mm-hmm. And what weirded me out about Sarah, because, first there was an old lady. The old lady kept looking. That really didn't, I didn't think nothing of that because she said she was running a home for, elderly people. So that's why I thought it was just some crazy lady just roaming the house. But the lady keeps popping her head in and popping her head out. And,
He good? She was talking. She was telling her about the art gallery and that she was like, "Oh, when did you and like what happened? What was going on?" She was like, "Oh, she was always good. It was right around her son's wedding.
Oh yeah,
and it was at her
that
ex-husband's
she just
house.
started changing and she started becoming this other person I didn't see before.
Well, yeah, because she was just like, well, it wasn't that she was becoming another person. It was really like she was just kind of like, I wanted her to become another person.
No, that's what she said. She
Oh,
said,
okay.
yeah, like after the wedding, and she said especially because the wedding was going to be at the husband's house, and Grace and the husband divorced because the husband cheated on her with his secretary,
whom he married, apparently.
Yeah, and she walked in on them doing it.
Doing
So,
it well.
I mean, of course she's about to feel some type of way. I would. Like, I don't know.
Why is it
honestly
always a
don't know if I can
secretary? Like,
go.
that's always so dumb to me. Like, it's
always the secretary.
But why? That's such a it's too obvious. Like, why wouldn't he like pick somebody else? Why does it have to be the secretary? Like, mailroom girl. Why not her?
Are there no male secretaries?
What do you mean?
'Cause
Probably.
it's always a woman.
Yeah, there's plenty of male secretaries.
They always make women secretaries.
They usually work for women. The same reason that men have female secretaries. You want something to look at.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't make the rules. I don't have a secretary.
So after they were talking, after Sarah gave Jasmine the picture, Sarah started acting weird. She's like, okay, well, you should go. I have to take care of something. And, I got my residents pretty much. They need to eat. But the way she was rushing her out the house, like she was really trying to hurry up and get her out the house. She even gave her coat. Like she stood up for her, put her coat on. And
Yeah.
She was like, all right, bye. Like, go and get.
Go and get.
And it was just like that part was just so weird to me, and I was just like, Sarah did it. Like that's all I kept saying.
Sarah is also played by Felicia Rashad, who still looks amazing after all these years. Just have to go and point that out. Let's go.
But yeah, so after that, Jasmine actually starts looking into her file. She's looking in with her friends, right? Or
No. It's just her, and she's there. I think her husband is there, and she's being kind of rude. Yeah. Like, hey, could you give me this?
Mm-hmm. And so after that, Jasmine goes back to the jail, and she starts talking to Grace. And she was all like, here, go. She had the plea deal in front of her. Oh, wait, did she sign the plea deal already?
She did. And she comes back because she's like, okay, what's happening with the plea deal? She was like, before we go, I still have it. I haven't given it to the prosecutor or whatever. I just want to hear what happened from your side and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I don't even remember how, but she does start telling her. She
says heels. She starts saying heels. She starts repeating heels over and over again.
Yeah. Oh, because she's looking at a picture or something, right?
Yeah. She shows her. Oh, okay. That's what happened.
She shows her the gallery.
She shows her the gallery picture, and then Grace is like, "Who you been talking to?" And then,
such a bad.
So she was like, I got this from Sarah. She was telling me a little bit about it, and I want to hear from your side of the story. And that's when Grace started saying hills. All I can remember was hills, which this part was kind of dumb to me too, because she said all she could remember was just putting on heels.
But she remembered literally everything.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say that, but that is true.
She's like, all I can remember were heels, and literally every other
hills
detail.
Have to do with anything though, too, because the heels weren't brought back up. I was thinking, like, dang, did she murder him with
the
her
heels? I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
That's where I was going. But you're right. It's just kind of what I think it is. It's a device to get from one place to another, so that we go from this courtroom to the flashback, so we can get there. And then she tells I will say I hate the way she is narrating her life story. It sounds so fucking stupid. It sounds like she's reading her memoirs to like a group of women who came to hear her read her.
Kindly.
But it's the way she's like, her inflections, like she's like waiting for applause and all this other bullshit. But essentially,
about to get life in jail.
She's telling the story. She goes to this art gallery. She meets this guy.
Well, not so fast. At first, she's
Let's just skip to it because the rest of that is
okay.
whack.
Go ahead, skip it.
We get to this art gallery. She meets this guy. They're talking about this painting. She's 100% sure it was done by a woman, and it turns out it was done by him. Even though she was right. But
But yeah, so he's just standing there all cocky
being
and
weird.
everything, and listening to her talk about all these paintings that, of course, you already know. You could have guessed it. He did them, and she was all like, "Yeah, I could tell it was a woman who painted these. I mean, who took these pictures because it's a woman's name." And
Which is a dumbass reason. Because I was like, I have an
the,
uncle named Shannon. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
and she's like, the way she shoots the pictures, and she shoots them in Ethiopia and all this other stuff. And
Yeah.
and then he was all, some woman comes, she's like, oh, can I steal this handsome man? And
What's weirder though is she's saying all of that while having literally no reason to have that knowledge. She admits that she's never been to anywhere. She doesn't know any of these things, but she somehow knows that. Oh, she was like, "This is from."
She says she reads a lot. She says she reads a
Yeah,
lot on.
I don't care. That's bullshit.
But
She
yeah,
is so sure, and she has no reason to be, and I don't like it.
so
It's called arrogance.
so yeah, a woman comes up, asks if she could borrow him, and they give him an applause, and they start talking about him, and they say his name, which is Shannon.
Something.
Shannon something. And she just like looked like stupid.
And she
pretty
left.
much. Yeah. And she did. She left. And then she's still telling the story. And then in the story they show like her getting flowers in her office.
Flowers and a picture.
Yes. And I was just like, okay, that's red flag number 1. Like, how did you know where I worked at?
He was like, well, you signed my guest book. I was like, that doesn't answer the fucking question.
Like, you just looked my name up and
You
talked
fucking
to me
Googled
like,
the shit out of me.
Like,
But then,
no.
I mean, it all makes sense after a while. Anyway.
But then we're led to believe that Sarah was the one who gave him the number, which I'm kind of confused because I never. When did they mention that Sarah and Shannon knew each other?
Only like vaguely, because after she sends the picture, she goes to talk to Sarah, and she's like, "Oh, he's young," and then they do girl talk and stuff like that. And she was like,
So she was setting her up with this man.
"Yeah," she was like, "Oh, go out with him." Like she talked like she knew, like she's already known him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're a photographer, I know him, and this and that. But it wasn't like anything in depth, just kind of like in passing phrases, like.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's the only other way, because other than that, it doesn't come up at all. So
No, not
yeah,
at all. So yeah,
they go on this date.
and they've been going out pretty much every night.
Yeah.
And, and then they do really go on like an actual date, I guess. And she was just like questioning him. She's like, everything in her gut told her like, like something's wrong here. Red flags. But how Grace kind of describes herself throughout this movie, that once her husband divorced her and her son got married, she had no one, and
She was lonely.
Yeah,
She
she
says
was
that a lot.
lonely. She just wanted to feel love. She wants to feel, beautiful. She missed her people. She missed someone touching her. Like, she just misses all these things that she's blinded by all that, and is missing all the red flags.
Pretty much.
So she asked him though too, like, why me? And he's like, well, what you need to ask yourself is, why not me?
Boom, sounds great. What are you gonna do? You can't.
Right?
It's a great line.
What do you
It's
say
a
to
great
that?
fucking line. Like you can't.
You're
There's no
right.
answer.
Why not me?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. It's like you're at one of those fucking seminars. He's like, everyone in here always asks themselves, why me? But what you need to ask yourself is, why not me? And then everybody starts chanting, why not me? Why not me? That's what that is. That's what's going to happen. Somebody said that to me, I'd be like, damn fucking right. Why not me? It's a great line. But anyways, after 3 months of dating and no sex, by it, mind you, 3 months of dating and no sex, he proposed to her.
Yeah, and This part was so cheesy to me. Like,
It was
I
bad.
feel like if you're gonna make a firefly sing, like at least make it look real. If it's gonna look cheap and cheesy,
They just look like
don't
yellow
do
dots.
It. Like it did. Like it just looked so.
It was bad.
Like,
I hated this.
It reminded
so much.
me of like a white teen movie. Like.
No, I
like,
mean
these
I
were
get it.
teenagers.
I-
You could have did something else. Like
I get what you're saying.
we
'Cause
were
it does
only
look like
missing
that.
him like spinning on his knee and like hitting all the flowers, and then all the fireflies come out, and then he.
Well, no, he just
proposes.
made her spin.
No, exactly.
That was he was like
She
spin around.
with his foot.
Yeah, I'll get these fireflies going. Hold on, 1 second now.
And then he wasn't waving his arms or anything. So just by anything, if everybody just
No,
spins
that's what it
around,
was. They started
just
coming
come
when
out.
she. Yeah, apparently it's so fucking stupid.
Like she wasn't waving her arms out, and I could see she's like wave your arms around and something. But yeah,
It was bad.
They just appeared, and yeah, it was.
There
just,
were
it did.
fireflies, and they looked like shit. And I'm sorry. Fireflies are okay, but at a certain age, I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about no fireflies
And
like
then
that.
why get married so quick?
But
like
that's oh my god,
after it was supposed, yeah, like you said, it was 3 months of them dating
with
and
no sex.
They got married like super, and she said yes super quick. Like you just got out of one.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long it's been. They never even mentioned how
Well,
long they
she
were
has
divorced.
a grown
but
son.
It's
Apparently, the divorce just happened. Like that's what they're making it seem like. From when the divorce just happened, probably like it probably been a couple of months.
well, because yeah, from what we know for sure, we know she's. I guess the ex-husband's wife is only a couple of years older than their son, so it has to have been fairly recently. So yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, but even like you're right. They get married way too quick and. Boom, everything changed.
Well, not so quickly. And that's what she said too. So you'll see, like, after they get married, he's still doing what he's doing. He brings her breakfast in bed, still showing up at her job with gifts and taking pictures of her in the bed after they just get done, having sex. And then one night she noticed he wasn't in bed, and he went downstairs and, he was downstairs and he was on the phone, and all you hear is, oh yeah, did you like the fireflies, stuff like that. So immediately he was like, oh, he's talking, he did the same moves as he did to her. Like, yeah, immediately that's what popped in your head. And she questions him and she's like, who are you talking to? And he just completely ignores her. And still like kind of on the phone, and then he was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And she's like, I said, who are you talking to? And then he just gets like real like,
He was like, Grace,
buffed up, like he did, like poked his chest out and everything.
there's only two things I don't like, Grace. One is being checked up on. What did he say the other one was?
Being questioned
And the,
about what he's doing or something.
Oh yeah, he said, I don't like being checked up on, and I don't like being questioned. All right? Yeah.
She's like,
She's like,
okay,
okay,
I just
all
missed
right.
you.
But she said, even the moment when he was like, there's two things I don't like, and she was like, okay. And then he told her, and she was just like, okay.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I totally, I 100% get it.
So then after that little incident
Stupid
happened.
ass Grace.
Yeah, after that little incident happened, Grace goes to work the next day, and then she's on the phone with Sarah, and then all these white men are walking by her.
They are
she
eyeballing the
works at a
office.
bank, and she's been there. She said she's been there for like 25 years or
15
something like
or something
that.
like that.
So, yeah, they're all just walking by, eyeing her, like looking dead at her, and she's just like lifting her head up, but she doesn't really like make a face like, "What are you guys looking at?"
It never really dawns
Yeah.
on her anything that they're even like looking at her like that.
Because she's still on the phone talking to Sarah, and then this woman comes in, and she was like, the board managers would like to see you in their office, and she tells Sarah, like, I gotta go. They want to see me about something. And her boss pretty much let her know that she's fired because she's been stealing X amount of money. You remember how much it was?
$375,000.
Yeah, she's been stealing that, moving it from like accounts and
Yeah.
all this stuff like that. And he was like, "Did you really think we weren't gonna see that? Did you think we were blind or something?" And she just all like, "I don't know what you guys are talking about." Like she's totally blindsided about the whole thing.
I think the bigger issue with this, my problem with this scene is I get that that's how things like sometimes get handled or whatever, but she deserves at the bare minimum the benefit of a doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
Like
mean?
She said she's gave that job her life. Like she knows that they would. Why would she? Like why now would
But
she
that's
do
the thing.
it?
There was no investigation. They were
No,
just like it was.
nothing.
All they knew for sure. They were like it was your passwords and such and
And
such.
your signature.
And your
She
signature.
was like, somebody's stealing my identity. Like,
Exactly.
And they didn't believe her at all. They just like, all
All
right,
right,
like,
tough, you're fired.
Either way, it's your fault because the password got out and you need to give us that
You
money
don't give us
back.
our money back, you're going in jail.
Which was like BS. Like, I would just be like, what the hell?
I can't give you the money. I don't know where it is.
Exactly.
Stupid.
So, she's all confused. She's trying to call Shannon. She calls him over and over and over again. I guess he's not answering. So she's at home with Sarah, and they're talking about it. And she's like, he's probably out there with that other chick. And, I heard him on the phone talking to somebody and yada, yada, yada. So then Shannon walks through the door, and he's just all like, what's going on? Pretty much. And she was like, who is she? Just started questioning him right off the bat.
Yeah. Which on her part was a little brash. She was upset. She almost got fired, and she had no reason for any of that. But she does. She comes in. Who is she? Blah blah blah. Fireflies and all this other shit.
You pulling the same moves you did with me?
And he was like, "Yo, I was taking pictures for. They have cancer."
Well, before she said that, then Sarah was just all like, Shannon asked him like, "Can you leave?" And she's like, "I'm gonna stay right here." And she was like, "I want to have a conversation with my wife." And she said, "I said I'm staying right here. I'm not going nowhere." And he was like, "You really want to do this in front of your friend?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's my friend," or whatever. And then Grace was like, "Go ahead. You can go ahead and go." And then she was like, "All right, but if you need me, call me." And then Sarah left. So then, that's when.
Yeah, so he was like, "Oh, I took pictures of these people. They got cancer. They're going to die, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just had a very bad day. I was fired and all this stuff happened. And he was like, yo, no, don't worry about that. We're going to go into it." He's making fake phone calls.
Yes. He's like, you got this list. I got this list. We'll figure this out together. Like, I described him as a smooth, sweet talker from the beginning. Like, he's just telling her everything she wants to hear. Like, yeah, of course, I got you. I'm going to help you. And then she ends up going to the bank and finds out that someone took a loan out for her house. And now
A
she
mortgage
has,
out.
a
Took a
mortgage.
mortgage.
And now she has to pay a mortgage again. And they're basically telling her that if she don't pay the mortgage, then her house is going to go in foreclosure and the bank is going to own it.
Basically.
In 10 days.
Well, she was like, "Okay, well, I didn't sign this." They were like, "Well, it was notarized." She was like, "Where?" And then they give her the address. It's some beaten up ass, rundown house. It's not really anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's mail in the front just piling the fuck up.
Yep. And she asked her too, and she also asked her for the surveillance video.
Of the bank.
Yeah, so she can know who signed it. So then she's at home and she's sitting there. Shannon comes walking in. "Hey babe, what's up?" Trying to be all chill still. And she was all like, "Did you check your phone? I sent you a video." And he was like, "No, I didn't check it. I didn't have my phone or something like that." And she's like, "Well, check it."
And to video him signing the leases or whatever the case may
Stealing
be.
the money. And she was like, "It was you too who stole the money from my job." And he basically owned up to everything and said, "Bitch, that's my money too. Like, that's my
Yeah.
money now. Like, I can do whatever I please with it."
Yeah. Well, at first he was like, "No, I needed that money because I owe some money to some bad
he
people
was
and some
trying to make her
bullshit
feel
like
bad
that."
for her.
And she was like, "I don't give a fuck."
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, he was like, "You're right. Yeah, I took the money. It's my money too. Ha ha ha. I'm entitled to it. Deal with that. However you deal with that."
And he basically, told her, like, do you know how, what state were they in?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
if they ever
It was
said.
some state. Because
He said, "Do you know the state laws in this? And you know what
Yeah.
the state laws are?" It was like, "Well, I do." Well, no, that was after. That's after. He starts talking all that crazy shit after the fact.
I thought that was now. Because then he talks to her crazy another
He
time,
does. Well, he
too.
talks to her crazy now because he also this is the second time where he's like, "Don't be checking up on me and don't be questioning me." Then he throws his phone and is like, "You lucky I got another one." Then she's out doing whatever she's doing. She comes home and he's with another woman. And then
He basically kicks her out the room and tells her that she needs to knock on the door before she comes in.
that girl was like, "Oh, your mom is so crazy." He was like, "Yeah, I know. Ain't she a trip?"
And got right back to doing it. And she just sat downstairs
Oh my
the
God.
whole time.
And that's when he's like, "Do you know what the laws are in this town? I do, because I'm your husband. I pretty much own everything you own. Your house is our house. Your money is our money, so I can do whatever I want with it."
And I guess she went to the police or she called the police. The police were saying that, they can't do anything about it.
Because of those laws.
But what's the law to stealing money from a job?
Is it? Well, see, that's different. They have to be able to prove that happened. That's a whole nother method. With the mortgage one, they can't do anything about that because as far as they're concerned, it's his mortgage too. So he had every right to take it out just as she did, which is a bullshit loophole to the whole thing.
Yeah, that sucks. So I'm not Terrence. Who's Terrence?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know Terrence.
He looks like a Terrence.
Tell me who's this pal?
So Shannon goes downstairs with the girl, kisses the girl goodbye, and he just goes and casually sits on the couch.
You should have joined us.
Yeah, starts laughing and then tells her he did love her, but he will never love her how she loves him, and she owes him money for cheering up her miserable life, and just start calling her all types of bitches and just really getting disrespectful. So she just turns around.
It's smooth though. I love it because you see the camera is fixed on him. So everything you see her doing is really background.
You just see her sitting there.
So she's just like, you just see her go over to this little plant. And then I was like, oh, she got the bat. And she just walks over all calm. And then wham, just like. Look, I don't give a fuck. That nigga's face was juice.
You know what? And gosh, you want to feel sorry for this man. But through all the stuff that happened and that he did, you're just like, you know what? He had it coming. Karma's a bitch.
It was
That's
funny because we know that he dies, and we're like, yeah, nobody really deserves to die like that. But then the more he kept talking that shit, I was like, yeah, kill that nigga.
He gotta go.
He look. He overstayed his welcome, and he talked too fucking much.
He told her he ain't moving out of his house, and she worked hard for that house and bought that house by herself. Like she just came and fucked everything up. So she said after that she dragged him, threw him down the stairs, and then she left. Yeah, she just kept driving, and then she called Sarah and told Sarah that she killed him. So then after that, the story gets cut
because Sarah says that nobody was there, the body was missing, blah blah blah.
So and she's asking her like, what happened to the body, and she's like, I don't know. But then we find out that Sarah is leading on more than she knows. So Jasmine goes over and talks to Sarah, and Sarah is all like, very like panicky, and she's like, well, what's the law for somebody withholding information from an officer? Can't you go to jail for that? And she told her like, yeah, you can. If they find out, you can.
She was like, well, that's why I didn't say anything. But it's kind of worse. In the way she thinks she's explaining it is not the way it's being explained. Because she's like, well, why didn't you tell the police that you went to the house? She was like, well, that's my friend, and I don't want my friend to get in trouble. And also, what happens if I say anything? Can I go to jail for saying that? And she's like, yeah. I was like, well, that's why I didn't say anything. I was like, no, that's more reason why the way she.
But then we also find out why she didn't say anything too, is because supposedly that Grace's son, she seen Grace's son leave the house and get into his car and drive away.
Which now I'm almost certain is bullshit.
No, it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just hit me. Me.
So that's what she said, that Grace's son moved the body. And that's why Grace doesn't want to go to court. She doesn't want to go take it to trial because she
thinks her son's going to be
in jail.
Essentially indicted and go to jail or whatever the case may be.
So yeah, so now Jasmine is asking Grace, don't take the plea deal, go to trial. And then Grace is scared, like, I don't want to go to trial. Like, I just want let me get what I want. And she was just all
Jasmine
like,
is like, trust me, I can do this. I can do this. I know I've never done it before. I know this will be my first time. I know this is a pretty high profile case, but trust me, I can do this. And she was like, all right.
But out through the movie, you think she can though, because at the beginning, like when she started taking this case seriously, she found that she was talking about the blood splatter, and
Which
she was doing all that stuff. Like she was being real forensic there. Like, you thought she could do it. Like, okay, like look at this girl, she knows what she's talking about.
And none of that shit amounts to anything. That's the worst part about it. Because let's get to the trial, because I don't care about any other part of this shit. Let's get to this trial. We go through opening statements. The defense is like, the prosecutor is like, yo, straight up and down, we got so much fucking evidence. We have evidence. We have witnesses. We have facts that Grace not only murdered her husband, but she hid it.
No, they don't have witnesses, but they do have.
Well, they got evidence. They were like, we got a lot of it. They were like, we got so much goddamn evidence. It's crazy. It's coming out of our asses. And then Grace gets up there and she's like, yeah, Grace probably killed her husband. But
that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how this woman loves to bake cookies.
No,
this woman teaches Sunday school.
The worst part is that she's trying to prove Grace's innocence, but there is no evidence that says that Grace is innocent. In fact, regardless of what ends up happening, Grace is still guilty of something. Like, I don't understand what she was.
Like, the body was never found. So who said she killed him?
It was like, but it doesn't matter. Attempted murder is still a crime. You can still go to jail for that.
You know what? I thought that's what they were going. Actually, I thought that's what they were going to court for. I didn't know they were going to court to tell that she was innocent. I thought they were going to court to get her a lesser sentences.
Yeah, but and that's what I assumed, that they were going to prove to the jury that she was. Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense.
I thought she was gonna swing it like, it was in the heat of passion.
Yeah, because
like
Jasmine doesn't
that.
do any of that. She's just like, this lady bakes cookies. She's a grandmother. She does all of this stuff. How could she be guilty?
Exactly.
And it's like, very easily, because she is. We have all the evidence. You idiot.
Pretty much.
So they're going through witnesses and all this other stuff, and it's not looking good in Jasmine's favor. It does, however, maybe it's just bullshit, but it looks like the judge is playing favorites, because everything she says is being. But I did start to notice the pattern is that she wasn't asking questions; she was trying to lead witnesses. That's different, and that's why she kept getting overruled on all this shit. Know.
And I'm thinking, like, if this is your first trial, why not? Donnie seemed like he knew what he was doing. Why
Donnie
not have?
Was fucking ready.
Yeah, like, why not have Donnie do it with you? Like, why would you, especially this being your first time, like, why would you go by yourself? Like, he had another lawyer there. Yeah,
you usually have a counsel when you do these kinds of things. Like, she should not have been doing it by herself. That was honestly, I don't understand that either. I've never seen that before. Outside of Law and Order, but those Law and Order judges are off the fuck. Those lawyers in Law and Order are off the chains. They know what the fuck they're doing. They don't need your help.
Yeah, so you're just sitting there thinking like, okay, it's going good, but then you see like her friends' reactions, like, nah, like she missed that, she didn't have it, or she needs help, and even Donnie was all like, she could pull this off, but she keeps doubting herself. She just feels like she doesn't know what she's doing.
Well, yeah, because what he does when they go to recess, Donnie tells her straight up, like, you have to call Sarah to the stand. And she's like, I can't do that because Grace won't let me, and blah, 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 blah.
Grace told her if she goes, like, if you try to get, she doesn't want to get Sarah in trouble either.
So she's like, if you say anything, I'll scream that I'm guilty.
So now she's trying to figure out how to work around it. So then they do get that recess. They're at home, and she's looking over the phone records. She's supposed to be looking over the phone records, and her friends are, doing their job. So then they get back to court the next day. And, that's when Sarah goes to the stand.
Sarah's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
She's just like, they're asking her questions. She's not even, huh? What? What do you, I'm sorry, what? Repeat that?
Well, with everything, but she was, they went over, she already knew what she was going to say to Jasmine. But when the other guy got up and he started questioning her, especially when he bought those phone records in.
Which became a big deal because basically he was like, hey, you know, so you talked to her the night of the whatever murder. She was like, yeah, for how long? She was like, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes. Oh, what did you guys talk about? Oh, we were talking about feeding the homeless, which
Her
a
son,
little
she
too
talks
much.
about him a lot.
And then she was like, oh, well, that's crazy because these phone records say that you guys talked for less than 2 minutes. She was like, what? I don't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah. And he's like, don't forget, you know, you are under oath, so you need to. And
then she broke.
Yeah. She's all like, she told me that she killed him. And
I'm so sorry,
yeah,
Grace.
Grace is like, it's okay, girl.
She did it. She did it. She did it.
She put the screw in the tuna.
Is that what we're doing?
Oh wow!
That was good laughter. That was legitimate laughter, babe. It's not fake laugh. Those are real laughs right there.
Oh my gosh!
You did it. You went for it. You went for it. So
Okay.
we go back. We're reaching towards the end because this is it. After this,
Yeah.
she was like, "Hey, he's like the prosecution rest? Does the defense rest?"
And she's like, "Yeah, we
do.
rest."
All right, you'll give your closing statements
Then
tomorrow.
her boss rips her another one.
While her husband is
It's
standing
still-
there
yeah,
again.
He's just telling her pretty much like, you know, what the heck is this amateur hour? You just let your leading witness leave off this stage telling them that your client is a murderer.
She's
and
like, I know.
You just let her walk away. And then she was just so like, you know, she really wasn't saying anything. And he's like, I don't get it with you fucking millennials.
That's what he said. Maybe it's a millennial thing. I don't know. He was like, but this is the worst I've ever seen. This shit was trash. How do you literally let your person get on the stand, which is
She's
once
just
again.
like, it rests like,
But it brings me back to that same point. Why were they trying to defend her innocence?
exactly. That didn't make sense. Like I said, I thought they was going to court for a lesser sentences.
Because
Sentence.
it
Goodness
doesn't like the
gracious.
thing is it doesn't matter. Like let's say if everything that Grace tells Jasmine is correct, she still attempted to kill him. Whether his body was found or not is ultimately irrelevant because now that's the only question is where's the body? And you
Yeah.
can be in jail until we find that shit out. Hell, plenty of people have killed, like in that movie Changeling. That dude killed all those kids and never told them where the bodies were. Like what were I don't understand what her goal was because she was trying to do the innocence thing when you're right. The whole goal should have been to try to lighten her sentence. That's it. You just have to prove that her crime was a crime of passion and not premeditated murder. That's what you have to prove.
Exactly.
And guess what? It's very easy.
And it is very easy because I would have said too, like, you know, this man has stolen from her and they have proof of all that because she did call the police.
And none of those people were brought to the stand.
Yeah, but none of that's on record. That's what I don't get either. Like, why is none of that?
I would have called her boss.
Why did none of that pop up?
Her boss would have been on that stand. The lady she talked to about who mortgaged her house would have been on the stand. The officer she talked to about the husband taking the money would have been on the stand. They could have
given them the surveillance tape of him taking out a mortgage for her house.
All of those things could have at the bare minimum got her that 15 years with parole. But they just she was so intent on proving her innocence, which is dumb because you know that she's not. She told you, told the story, and still told you she is not innocent of freaking anything.
Exactly. She did it.
She did it.
So the next day, they was asking them to, you know, give their final closing speech. And
oh boy, gave a pretty good one again. He was like, "Yo, what did I tell you, huh?
Right?
Give it up, give it up."
Was I right?
Yo, look, I'm not saying I'm the Michael Jordan of these cases, but I'm the Michael Jordan of these cases.
And then Jasmine, your speech, please. I would like to call Sarah to the stand.
Sarah Miller. The defense calls Sarah Miller.
And
Great. He was like,
everybody was
fucking,
like, what? What?
and the
heck is
judge
he
was
doing?
like, Jasmine, what the fuck, man?
So he called them both up and he was just like, what the heck is going on? Both sides rested yesterday. You can't do this. Like,
That's not how this
yeah,
works.
he was like, what courtroom have you been to?
And then so they go back and she's like, she does it again. The defense calls Sarah Miller. She was like, all right, could you meet me in my chambers, please? I'm not going to your chambers. The defense called Sarah Miller.
He's like, meet me at my chambers. I will not go to your chambers.
It sounded creepy when she kept saying it like that.
Right?
Like he wasn't making it sound like that, but she made it seem like he was trying to offer her sex.
She's like, until you send Sarah Miller to stay. So Sarah got up, but he's like, Miss Miller, sit down.
She's like,
He's
all right,
like,
well, fuck
nobody's
that.
taking a stand. And he basically told her, like, if you don't stop this, I'm gonna
Hold
put you
you
in
in contempt.
contempt. And she kept saying it. Like, in my eyes, she just threw a big ass tantrum.
That's what it
because
was.
she fucked up the other day.
It was a fucking tantrum.
Like, what is this? Is really amateur hour right here. Like,
Yeah, she throws a tantrum. She ends up going to jail. And then the boss comes and he's like, yo, no, the husband comes first. Well, no, the boss does come.
boss comes
And he
first.
says the same thing. He was like,
He seriously told her, like, why are you sitting in here? All you got to do is tell the judge sorry.
well, not even just that. He was like, if you would have had that passion earlier, we'd probably be in a different position. But, it's a little too late. I don't know what the hell you were trying to accomplish. It was stupid as fuck. I like the fire, but it was dumb.
Yeah.
And
He also told her, too, like,
You're still
about the case
fired.
again. Like, why didn't you, even I looked at the phone records. Why didn't you look up the phone records?
She kept saying, well, I didn't have them. And they were like, yeah, we gave them to you. And they did. Like, they tried to. I don't
She's
know.
like, well, I just got appointed to this case. But that was because all of a sudden you felt like you wanted to go to trial. That's
what it was.
Your
It had
fault
nothing
still
to do-
too.
yeah.
You should have did your homework.
But then, like, the way the movie tries to frame it is that she's being, like, sabotaged. But it's really just her own stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how it looked, she didn't look at the phone records because they even say, and I didn't remember it till you brought it up, but when she was going over it with Donnie and that other chick, whatever her name was, she was like, here, you take the phone records. I'll look over these. So she had the phone records.
Yeah, she did. She gave herself that job.
Fucking.
And you blew it. But yeah, so she's sitting in jail and she's just self-loathing right now. And she tells her boss before he walks away, she's like, you know what?
Fuck you.
And he just kind of like laughs and walks away. So then she's
Meanwhile, in court, though, they're convicting Grace. And,
yeah.
She's going to jail. Her son's crying up a storm. Sarah's like,
That
I
part-
got him.
That part
I got
me
him.
though right there. That
I
was a
got
little
him. Don't
touchy.
worry.
It
I
was
got
sad.
him. And then Grace notices something.
So in the clinic, in the middle part, Shannon had this necklace on he got it from Africa,
Maybe.
and it was some type of.
It was a necklace. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
It was a
I don't know what you call
necklace.
it. It had some type of charm on it.
It was a necklace. Like, let's move on.
All right, sorry, but yeah. So she seen that Sarah had that same necklace on, and she started putting two and two
Everything
together.
started being put together. She was the reason she was at that gallery. When they left, when they had the little argument, and she was like, Sarah touched his hand,
Yeah.
and all this. I thought they were lovers.
I thought they were too because they did the whole like little finger touch. So I was just
That was
like,
a little
oh,
weird.
okay, yeah, it was. But I freaking knew it. I said at the beginning.
But you doubted
Sarah,
yourself,
I know
so
I
it doesn't
did,
count.
but
It doesn't
does
count. No, it's not
Sarah
a win.
was the one.
But you read
I
in.
partly won.
You read.
I partly won, and that's what
That's
what I'm going for.
That's not even how that works at all.
I'm still a winner. Yay me.
Yes. Yay you. So, anyways, all during this time, her husband finally convinces her. She apologizes to the judge. We don't see it, so it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah.
She apologizes to the judge. The husband's taking her home. She's like, I'll get out and walk. You got to go back to work anyway. And the only reason I do not fault him for not like saying no is that he probably does have to get back to work.
Yeah, because I was faulting him.
He's already pulling strings to probably take her home. There's a conflict of interest and all that other stuff or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, she walks. She sees the old lady played by Cicely Tyson. Rest in peace.
And the old lady's name is Alice.
Alice. And Alice is like trying to get away from the house. She's like, oh, no, I'll take you back. And she's like, no, don't. I don't want to
want to
go
go
back.
to my house. I got my own house. Like, let me go.
She was like, yeah, you live right here. She was like, this bitch is not listening to me at
Exactly.
all.
So she ends up taking her back to Sarah's house, and Alice is still telling her like
About her house.
Yeah, and she gives Jasmine the address that the people gave, that the lady gave her at
Gave
the
to
beginning.
Grace.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So-
because that's the address that Grace voted for the notary
Yeah,
place that turned out to be some abandoned building.
Yep.
And she was like, huh? What?
So now,
What? And then all of a sudden, now you hear noises. And what does Alice say? They're hungry. I was like, fucking
yeah,
zombies?
they're hungry. Like, what's that? She goes down there. Like,
Oh
what do
my
you
God.
mean they're
I'm
hungry?
sorry. You can't say those words, they're hungry, and I'm going to go investigate.
Well, let me go see what's down there.
Fuck all
Like,
that
no,
shit.
who's hungry, Alice? Like, no, thank you.
You ain't as crazy as you look. Start talking.
But I don't understand this either. Like, why do people just feel the need to go investigate, especially by
goes-
themselves?
Yeah, she goes to investigate and immediately is kidnapped.
By who? Dun, dun, dun. Shannon. Shannon's alive, y'all.
Yo, first because we skipped over it. His fucking hair is stupid. I just wanted to get that out. Shannon's hair is stupid as hell. It is.
So he reminded me of Dwight Howard when he had that haircut.
He looks so dumb. I don't know how to say his name. Makad Brooks. I'm pretty sure that's it. But everything I've ever seen him in, he's been bald. And he looks fine bald.
They slapped this
This
hairpiece on
fucking
him.
hairpiece, it looks so stupid. Complicated with that dumbass mustache. It is bad. It is so fucking bad.
Oh, man.
He looks stupid. He looks so fucking stupid. All right, rant over.
But yeah, so Shannon's still alive. He gets Grace and ties her up. Sarah comes home, and when she walks in the door, Alice immediately tells her, like, I didn't let her in. And she was like, let who in? And she hears, like, tumbling or rumbling going on downstairs. And she goes down, and he finds out that Jasmine is down there, and that
Yeah.
Shannon tied her up in the somewhere.
Yeah, and then she
Like a
basically was
little
like,
room.
"Oh, that's my son. Oh, yay! Something. I don't even know if this.
But
is
while this is happening, what's his name? Jordan.
Jordan,
Jordan is arresting somebody, and Jordan is not that good of a cop. But
no. Now that you're saying it, this is weird. Jordan isn't that good of a cop. He's arresting somebody. He gets a call, but the call is nothing. No one ever calls.
No, they do call.
Who calls?
He gets a call. Somebody at the I'm guessing somebody at the police department, because they tell him,
How
like,
did they know? Who called them?
I don't know, but they was all like, did you check your computer? And he was all like, hold on, let me go check. And so he checks the computer, and he sees Sarah picture pops up all over the computer, and it had like wanted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wanted pictures.
I was
of
gonna
her.
say because I was like, there's no reason for him to go to that house or
Yeah,
even get a
no,
call.
that's
So
why
that's what
he
it
went,
was. There
yeah.
was because he did, because she had asked him to look into it earlier, and that must have been the bolo that he put out.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
It all
where
came full.
from.
It all came full circle. At least that makes sense.
Right. So yeah, so he just backs up. The guy's still on the hood of the car, and the guy gets up slowly, but he's still in handcuffs. So at first he told the guy don't move while he goes check his computer, but then he just backs up and leaves. The guy, that was his lucky day. He got free. So he drives
Although
over.
he is still cuffed, and that's going to be a bitch to get out of.
So he goes over to Sarah's house, and he's knocking on the door, and Sarah answers it, and she's all like, your wife's not here. And he was like, oh, is she? Because she told me she was coming over here. And she was like, oh, no, I haven't seen her. So he was like, well, can I come in and check? And she was like, do you have a warrant?
Boom. Guilty. And he was like, whatever. So then he calls Jasmine's phone and hears it. That's probable cause. This motherfucker break down as many doors as he feel like
just
now.
Broke down the door, and then he's like, "Where is she?"
He
Where's
walks
my
right-
wife?" Yeah, he just walks past her, and she hits him in the head with a frying pan, and that's stupid to me too. Why, you're the cop in the situation? Why not arrest her first and then tell her like, "Where's my wife? Take me to my wife," in case you run into somebody else down there.
Because everybody in this movie is literally stupid. He just walks by. What? Fuck that. I'm going to go get my pack. Oh, my God. Oh. And then he ends up handcuffing her and leaves her.
It tells her not to move.
Don't move.
Like what?
And the first
what
thing she
person
does
in their
is
right
move.
mind is just gonna be like, okay, I'll just sit right here. Like
Literally, the first thing she did was move.
she didn't just move. She scuffled. She ran.
He was like, hey,
out.
don't move. He was like, all right, he's out of earshot.
Exactly.
I'm gonna run out this door now. So he goes.
Which I don't understand though either, because he did call for backup before he even went in the house, and you said they were 7 minutes out.
Man, it was a long ass. Well, she was gone before that 7 minutes.
I would have figured they would have seen her like running down the street. The woman's in handcuffs.
It depends on which way she went. She might have known these back streets. Who fucking knows, man? But
so, yeah, he goes down there and he's calling for Jasmine, and then
he gets to scuffling.
Yeah, with Shannon.
It's a stupid ass looking scuffle. It's not even like the way the camera shoots this is dumb because you only see them like doing the little wrestling thing, and then it's implied that there's punches being thrown, but you never really see them. You just see Jasmine in this chair getting up, smashing the chair somehow. She falls the fuck over.
She crashes. She runs right into Shannon, and I'm pretty sure you could break a chair on him. But
I don't like the way you said that. Oh, fuck out of here.
He was very built. Okay, that's what I'm just saying.
Shut your mouth.
But yeah, so the chair broke. She lands on top of him. So she picks up the gun and then just pointed at him. He puts his hands up and then she just fires.
Well, yeah, that was fucking insane.
She didn't even say like, oh, she yelled, stop it. And then after
and he
that,
did. He literally stopped.
And then she did. How many bullets did she put in? Like
2.
Ugh.
She shot him twice.
He was on her husband comes like, all right. I think that's enough. Put it down.
She's going to jail.
Yeah, like
maybe. The way this movie is set up, I don't fucking know. All we know for sure is that somehow this exonerates Grace for at the bare minimum assault with a deadly weapon.
Right? So she kind of still should have been like at least probation. Like
she's like
she's still attempted to kill this guy.
The reporter asked the absolute dumbest fucking question.
Well, before we get to that, so Shannon is Sarah's son. Sarah and Shannon have been pretty much scheming women.
All those women in the basement.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of old women in the basement. They've been kidnapping them and stealing their money. Stealing their SSI checks and all the money that they need to leave. Yeah, and apparently they've been doing it for a while now.
This is the part that trips me out though, right? One of the women that they scammed was the woman from the very beginning of this movie. The husband dropped the motherfucking ball because he would have had to know. He's been sitting next to Sarah at this stupid ass trial the whole time. Why wouldn't it even be thought of to bring up, hey, that house where I saw that woman drop to her death, turns out crazy shit. That was Sarah's house.
Yeah. That is
It was never
true.
brought up.
It wasn't
Like,
at all.
it's a
Because he knew
huge-
exactly where to go, too.
It's a huge point. Or even at the bare minimum, if that never crossed his mind, maybe he's never been to Sarah's house till that one time at the end. Even if
And
that
it
was
was
the case,
dark.
he should have been like, holy shit, I was at this house. Like,
Yeah,
nothing. That's
like if it impact you that much,
It's
you
a-
should have like that should have been like
yeah. It's a huge oversight on this movie because I feel like that's one hell of a detail that could have put this whole case together, or at least made it feel like it was interesting. But he left it out. They never even bring it up. He's like, yeah, oh, this is the trial. Oh, yeah, Sarah Miller. Oh, we were at her house investigating a lady about to jump.
Yeah.
Holy shit. She kept saying, I didn't have anything. I have nothing left.
And you know what? I'm surprised that they didn't like look in like just look around. Like, can we look around your house?
They were
If
in
they
the
were-
house. That's how they got up to that part of the room.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they I don't know.
It's a huge oversight on this entire movie.
But yeah, so Grace goes free, and the woman was asking her, what, love?
She said, so, are you happy that it's all over?
And she said, it ain't over.
But it is. That's literally the end of the
It
movie.
ain't over till I say over. No,
This is-
Grace, just let it go
this
because
is
you're
done.
lucky to be free in
You
the
should
first
not
place.
be free. Exactly. There are so many
Just
other.
forget about it.
You have assault with a deadly weapon. We still haven't figured out who was stealing all of that money. Like,
But he never pressed charges, so I guess he was still alive. So I guess that's why.
this is bullshit. And then we see Sarah getting into another old person's home or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it is exactly, but when she's alive and she's about to scam some more people. Oh, I read about her. She's super rich, isn't she? Yes, she is.
You know, there's people that really do that though.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Okay, because I was listening to it on that serial killer podcast.
Yeah, you love your serial killers. All right, babe. You know what time it is.
All right.
Well, you get to ask me now. Yeah.
So, what do you give this movie? A yay or a nay?
I give this movie an absolute sad trombone because it is absolute dog shit. The trial could have been interesting if we had a competent lawyer, but she was making mistakes left and right, and no amateur, not even the rookiest of the rookie in Law and Order, would do some shit like this. It was just hard to watch because you're just watching her get massacred by this other dude. All her fucking questions, like even when she thought she got the aha, it didn't mean anything. That whole blood pooling bullshit turned out to be absolute who gives a fuck. Like that's where I stand.
You said you enjoyed it.
I lied.
Oh.
You told
You
your
hear
mom.
that, Ma?
You told your mom I enjoyed it, and I just
'Cause
agreed.
I thought you said you did.
I didn't want to break her heart.
Well, you broke it. She's listening.
Oh my gosh.
I give this movie, I give it a yay.
I don't know why. I disagree 100%.
What got me was the whole plot twist. Like, because it didn't even come about Grace anymore. Like, it's about them now, kidnapping all these women, and they just have them in their basement. Like, it's just like, wait, where the hell did that come from? Like, there's more?
Yeah.
So that's why. It was a nice little plot twist.
It was an okay ass plot twist.
I would watch it. I would probably watch it one more time. My mom's gonna watch it again. But after that, like, that would be like my go-to movie.
I would never watch this movie again.
But I would tell people to watch it. Like, oh, it was a cool movie.
I
You
would
should
not
watch
tell
it.
people to watch this movie. And yeah, that's it. That's where I stand on that.
So, yes.
You got anything?
I do not. Catch us next time. We are going to be doing The Nutty Professor.
Professor.
With Ken.
Yeah, one of our biggest supporters and fans.
Yes, we appreciate him so much. So, make sure you tune in for that. And thank you for listening.
And on that note,
Bye.
bye.